Well, welcome to the podcast today, and we've got some of the leading property management specialists with us today. As you know, we go out and we buy some fantastic investment properties. Great yield, great rental return. But if you buy a property and you have bad property management, very quickly your investment can go south. So we're here today with Gilda and Cheree from CG Real Estate Specials. Welcome to the podcast, ladies.
Thank you.
So very quickly, pick one. Where are you? What do you do? And how long have you been doing it?
We are based in Camden.
Yes.
We've been open now for just under 1 year. Together, combined, we've got just over 35 years experience.
You look very young. Yeah. Someone with 35 years experience.
Combined.
Yes.
True.
That's about it really. Just located in Camden. Heaps of experience.
So you do the whole of Sydney, don't you?
Yes. We do. We cover all of Sydney, yeah.
Cover all of Sydney, Wollongong.
Yes, Wollongong, yes. So look, first things first, a lot of people come to us when they find a property and they say, how do I choose a good property manager? And it's important to find people who've got passion for the job. You can put someone in who just follows a tick box, who's just from the local real estate and they chop and change all the time. The reason I picked these two ladies is they are passionate about property management. They are passionate about looking after their clients. They do go that little bit further to make sure their properties are looked after well and the people who are renting the properties are looked after well. Because then if everyone's happy, the rent gets paid, the place doesn't get damaged, and everyone, in theory, leads a good life. I'm going to say to you, Cheree, what's something someone should look for when selecting a property management company?
I think one thing that's really important is management for the company. So one thing that we pride ourselves in is that both of us who are the directors are actually property management based. We often find that you might come across a larger company who has directors who are specifically in sales.
Yes.
When something goes wrong or is escalated to that sales agent who is the director, they don't quite understand how property management works. They don't have the same passion for property management, so therefore I don't feel like they understand the relationship between the tenant and the landlord. And we've found over many years that if we have a happy tenant, we have a happy landlord. So
Gilda, we're just talking about the relationship between tenant and landlord. As a rule, especially in New South Wales, they shouldn't ever talk or meet, but they're still going to have a relationship and you're the person in the middle.
Definitely.
How does someone like you manage that relationship so both sides are happy, respected, the rent gets paid and the property gets looked after?
Just making sure that we're always passing along any messages, if there is any issues that, we're tackling them quite quickly, just being quite transparent with everybody.
Communication.
Setting expectations, I suppose, early on.
Yeah.
If a tenant phoned and they had an emergency that they felt was an emergency, and to us it's absolutely nothing. It's just a blocked drain pipe that is still leaking outside. It's not affecting the inside of the house or something, we can set that expectation with them at that point and sort of say, look, it may take 2 to 3 days for the plumber to be there. The toilet's not blocked, the toilet's okay. Yes, okay, all right. So just setting expectations at the beginning.
That's very, very important. When you're, of course, talking now about the person you pick, as an investor, I'm an investor, I rely on your recommendation on how and who you're going to go through. Figures, fine, they can pay. But someone like me, it's more important about the person, are they going to look after my property? If I've got a tenant who's listening to this and they want to present to you that they want to rent a property, what's some things a tenant can do to make them look good and get them in front of other people that are also applying for that same property?
Just making sure that you're very organised with the applications. We don't want to be having to chase people for documents. You find a lot of applications where they'll be missing things or just with us in our process, we're quite thorough, so making sure that everything matches up. There's so many times that we've got people that are applying and they may have a completely different address on their licenses to
that
what's
happens
on their
a lot when
forms
they're moving around, doesn't it?
Especially tenants that are self-employed and things like that. they sort of go, well, I'm self-employed, so I don't have a pay slip or something.
I can't provide you anything.
It's really important, like speak to your accountant, get them to put a letter together. And if we need to call that accountant, we can call that accountant. Give your accountant a heads up that we may call and confirm.
They may receive an email to send through just a confirmation.
Or the other one is, I've owned my own home, I've got no reference. That's okay. Do you have maybe a sales agent that's been through your home recently that's trying to sell your house that can say, yes, they presented it well? Or do you have a copy of your rates notice that might show us that you're the owner? Just simple little things that you might overthink, but in the big scheme of things, it really helps Gilda and I process applications a lot faster and give the accurate information back to the landlord.
And what can a landlord do to get the most money for his property? I've bought a unit, 2-bedroom unit in Randwick, pretty cookie cutter. What can a landlord do, and what would you tell them to do to present that and make it so you can get the most rent for them?
Make sure it's clean. It's a big one.
Clean is huge.
Yeah, like
clean
a proper clean.
Yeah.
And then also professional photography. So we always recommend professional photography. You're almost treating it like a sales home, but not to the full extent of getting floor plans every property, unless you had something massive. But the professional photography goes a long way. There's so many times that we see photos that other agents have taken. You see their reflections in mirrors. You see, we saw one the other day. There was toilet lids up. There's all their bathroom products in the shower still. Just tidy it up a little bit.
I see. When you're saying that, quite often people come in and they go, Rob, I rang some of the real estate agents and they're charging me 7.7%, which is pretty average around all of New South Wales. 8s in the country, but one said he could do it for 5.5. Now, to me, that's a red flag. I'm going to throw it over to you. You guys set high standards. You charge a good price, but you provide the service. When someone comes in and gives a really low number, how do you handle it, and what should an investor look for as a red flag going, I may not be going to get what I really need to look after my property?
I actually had this example yesterday afternoon.
Awesome, great.
So it was a new agency that had approached this particular landlord. I've worked with this landlord many years ago.
Yes.
He came back to me and he said to me, I received this email without the agent's details in it. This is the fees they've offered. So I had a look at it and I said to him politely, if you are going to pay fees like that, you'll probably get service like that. At this point, the fees were nearly next to nothing. Most fees were nil. The other thing was I said, I know I can provide and I believe in my services. You will not be disappointed. And if you are, we will work out what these issues are. At the end of the day, what is it that you're looking for in an agent? He said what he was looking for. So I said, if I can provide that, let's sign. So he is going to sign. We've met with him.
Great.
Which is good. But I think a red flag is that it's usually too good to be true.
It's an old saying, isn't it?
I did a little bit of a back what do you want to call it, investigation afterwards. I worked out who the agent was. And I had a quick look on...
it's not normally hard.
Had a quick look on realestate.com just to see average days listed, how many properties had been leased, all those sorts of things. The stats were double ours.
That's not good.
No, that's what
because that costs an investor money.
That's right. So their vacancy period was double of what ours are.
Because I know when I buy investments for people, even though we have our own data checks, we ask the agent, what's the average rent, days on market to rent it, and length of lease. Now, in regional New South Wales, most of them now are 12-month leases with a fixed increase in the middle, but it's all upfront. In cities, most of it's still 6-month leases because they're more itinerant. But that's so important what you're talking about. Gilda, investors looking at you here and listening to you on our podcast, put your investor hat on. What are some of the things an investor should look for when selecting an investment property?
I guess just any repairs are a major issue that we see. The condition of the property, location is definitely a big one.
So what are the key things in the location that are important to a renter that would ensure that they're going to get good rent? Is it schools? Is it buses? Is it the local coffee shop? What really
definitely,
is important?
yeah.
All of the above.
I
was going to add in bars,
all of
but,
those, but yeah, just I guess making sure that accessible to areas of employment, and it's not too far out.
So a house or a unit that's closer to a bus station, like a bus line or a train line, would get more rent than one that they've got to walk a kilometre to get to.
A lot of the times you've got families where they've got kids as well.
Yes.
And if the kids don't have access to anything to get to school or anything,
even if it doesn't mean that they'll get more rent, they might find they have a lower vacancy.
Yeah, lower vacancy.
And that's just as important.
I think the other thing too is having the lower vacancy. Obviously, you're not incurring letting fees. You're not incurring
people don't see that, do
periods. You're not in. You just have a less turnover of tenants all the time.
I once spoke to a commercial. He owned a row of shops, and he said to me, we're talking about rents and all that. And he said to me one day, he said, "Rob, I would rather charge $100 a week less on a retail shop, and know that my tenants can afford the rent, and I'm not turning them over, and charge exorbitant rent, which looks good, but it's empty for 4 months. It's cost me more money that way."
That's right.
So you said you've got to get a balance, and you give with your clients, you can tell them that balance of, well, you can go for this, but I can do for this.
All the time.
Right.
We quite often have owners or landlords come to us and say, "I want $600, for example," and we sort of say to them, "Look, the area is more like $560. Happy to try $600 for the week for you. If we don't get the response that we're after, we will 100% be upfront and honest with you and let you know, because at the end of the day, that extra $40 that you're spending is costing you a lot of money over time."
With weeks. Yeah.
And the laws have now changed around that, haven't you? You can't auction off upwards. You can come down, but you can't go up. Is that correct? Is there anything else that's coming in New South Wales or is coming that people may not be aware of in the change of any of the laws for renting?
So rent increases is about to change.
Yes, what's happening there?
So there's going to be there's going to be changes where the rent can only be increased once every 12 months.
Yes.
Which was sort of always around.
But what if you've got a 6-month lease? What happens there? Can you then change the rent at renewal?
No. It's once every 12 months.
Every 12 months.
Cool.
So before people used to get around it by leasing for 6 months, increasing at the end of the 6 months, and then keeping that rent for 12 because it was once in a 12-month period.
Still a technicality. But
Technicality.
Now they're saying once in 12 months.
And that's why they need good property management to help them through these things.
Yeah,
correct.
That's fantastic. So we're going to wrap it up, but I'm going to throw back to these two lovely ladies who are with me. You're making me look very good today, so watch the audio so you still think I look good. Please, especially in rent and especially in investment, it is so important, I keep telling people, to have good property management because it can negatively affect your capital growth, it can negatively affect your return on your income, especially your yield as we call it, if you don't have someone looking after your property. And you've got to have people who are passionate. These two ladies, I am very picky about who comes on our Facebook, who comes on my Instagram, who comes on our podcast. So I have very much big faith in these two ladies. But I'm going to throw it back to them. Both of you, can you tell our listeners why they should use you and how they can contact you?
Okay. So our mission is to be contactable to all of our clients.
Yes.
So you can find us on most of the social media platforms. We do have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then of course you can contact us on our mobiles at all times, or you can also book an appointment to meet us here in the office.
So what's your website?
www.cgrealestatespecialist.com.au.
Wow, don't say that after a couple of months. Okay, we're going to wrap it up there. I hope everyone has a groovy week. If you want to reach out, I will put the contact details for the office in the links. Have a great weekend. If you're buying property, buy smart, buy without emotion, and get advice. You have a groovy week.
Thank
you.
Thank you.